Hey, welcome to the channel. We hope that you enjoy today's stories and check out the chapters on the video to see all the stories for today. But before we get into this video, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to get notified when we release a new video. So let's get into the video.
Why did you and your ex break up?
Experience 1. She brought a guy home with her one evening and told me I had an hour to pack my ish and get out. I reminded her that the lease was in my name, not hers. Imagine the look of shock when I told her to get out. Experience 2. She cheated on me with a convicted child-attracted person, and then she left me for the child-attracted person. We have 3 kids together and, unsurprisingly, they all live with me. Experience 3. I found pictures of her banging some other dude in our bed while I was gone for work. 5 years of my life down the drain. Don't worry though. Was painful at first, but ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. Got me out of an unhealthy relationship with someone who clearly didn't really love me, and freed me up to meet the real love of my life, whom I just proposed to. Experience 4. My ex and I were together for 14 years, and it was a magical time. However, once the pandemic hit, he took up smoking crystal meth at home while I was away at work all day. He became absolutely addicted, stopped taking his schizophrenia medication, and the psychosis and paranoia took over. Living with him became a horrific nightmare I wouldn't wish on anyone. I tried everything to get him help, but he wouldn't budge or acknowledge the depths of his despair. After 5 months of living with this madman who was once my best friend and partner in life, I had to move out and start my life all over from scratch. I still can't believe how quickly it all unraveled. Now he's homeless and living downtown in some bushes in a park. Experience 5. 3 months of long distance. She gave me a summary of her week via text. I spent the first few weeks trying to engage in conversation only to be ignored for another summary. I spent the next few months asking if we could just enjoy casual messages that flowed in a natural conversation to mimic how we spoke when we were in the same city. After 2 months of not being listened to, I called her up and broke it off. For some reason, she was surprised. Experience 6. I took time off from work to take care of her parents. Her mom died, and it hit her hard. I continued taking care of her dad, but she was so stressed she would go out with her daughters and friends from work to de-stress. After 2 years of staying at her parents' house 24/7 and right before her dad died, she told me I was a godsend and she wanted a divorce. She locked me out of our house and had the attorney she was working with declare I had abandoned it so she could keep everything. Turned out her nights with our daughters and with her friends were actually with her boyfriend. She got the house and the inheritance and a new boyfriend. I got nothing. Experience 7. We've been married for 13 years and got a 10-year-old daughter. Once as we both turned 40 to 42, we realized that each of us thought she and he sacrificed his and her life for another, trying to make out some happiness. But it was nothing. A way we tried, we thought me and she would be happy. But appeared that we were living in a world of illusions. We talked and revealed we have only a few things in common: no passion, no feelings, just good companions in life. We didn't cheat, we tried not to lie and be the best partners, but seems like both just lived their own dream. I was totally devastated as I understood I have no family in my understanding. My wife doesn't want me, she never felt confident enough with me financially. The whole concept of a family was wrong. The worst thing, we have a daughter we both adore. And we don't know what to do, split up or try to make it all over again. I do realize that also could lead to another life. Another woman at least. And now it's wasted. We both made a wrong choice once these years back. Experience 8. Wasn't ready for a relationship at all. Came into it with a lot of baggage. I hated many aspects of myself and had no self-esteem or confidence. We were in university and matched via Tinder, so it's not like I had to put in actual work to pursue her. Long story short, I became overwhelmingly attached and really put her on a pedestal. There was a whole lot of love bombing as well. She finally got suffocated with my nonsense and jumped ship after 3 months. I took the breakup horribly, and for about 3 to 4 years, I remained in a really bad state with even worse baggage as a result of how I perceived the breakup. One day, I faced some really strong marijuana and decided to reflect on the past. All the reasons for the breakup became clear, and I started to see why she felt the way she did. I've since then improved myself and can finally say I am now slightly above the baseline amount of confidence or self-esteem. Was most definitely deep into the negatives before. Experience 9. I'm not going to lie, I'm not easy to date, anxiety, bad past dating experiences. I'd been cheated on twice before, so naturally, I like to keep new partners at arm's length at first because I'm aware I have a tendency to go all in early in a relationship. My ex was also the kind who moves quickly. We were officially an exclusive couple 2 weeks after we first talked. A week after that, about 3 weeks since we'd met, she said I love you, and I did my best to explain that as much as I cared for her then, I felt like it was a tad bit too fast. By this time, I'd already told her about the being cheated on part. She then proceeded to use it against me, saying that I was just letting past traumas affect me and that I had no trust in her. I gave in and said it back moments later, thinking maybe I had been wrong to be hesitant. From there, the relationship dynamic was like that. Every time I didn't do exactly what she wanted, I'd end up thinking it was my fault for not being trusting enough and that I had to prove myself to her. I was slipping back into old habits, allowing myself to invest too much, telling myself that it was fine because I was just showing that I was committed and that I was past my bad experiences or something. I slowly started hanging out less with friends and skipping workouts, all because she would ask me to spend more time with her. Not a fan of whom I was becoming when we were together. Experience 10. We'd been in a committed relationship for 7 years. We were both in our 40s, and we had a plan to get married after her last child finished college, which would take another 7 years. She lost patience, found another guy who said he wanted to get married again much sooner, and she ended it with me. Spoiler alert, they got engaged about a year and a half later. But apparently, he wouldn't agree to a date for the wedding. After being engaged for over 4 years, she finally figured out that he lied about wanting to get married. They broke up about the time we originally planned to get married.
If you're enjoying today's video, smash that like button and consider subscribing to the channel for more videos and interesting stories. Now let's get back to the stories of our lives.
Experience 11. She took advantage of me. She used me, especially after her father died. I tried moving her away from where she was to help her start a new and improved life. She was addicted to meth, but said she'd stop for us, and it was just to deal with the trauma of her father's passing. I was working 80 to 100-hour weeks and came home to her cheating on me. Then I found out it was with multiple people on multiple occasions. Experience 12. She had her first time with me. After she got comfortable with intercourse, she became hypersexual, which was awesome for a minute, until she would just regularly express her interest in smashing just about anyone else. Despite never cheating on me, it absolutely destroyed my self-worth and self-esteem, and eventually destroyed the relationship. Afterwards, she felt the need to inform me about her whole phase, in which she had unprotected intercourse with several men about a week after leaving me. I didn't eat for 4 days after hearing that. Experience 13. She went to Hawaii for a girls' weekend, came back and told me she wants to focus on her career without worrying about me, and broke it off after 4 years. She probably cheated on me. Edit, she started seeing me as a burden when applying to jobs because she kept considering my opportunities alongside hers. We weren't right for each other anyway, so it's cool. Just sucks to have something last for 4 years and then end so suddenly. Kind of ruined my outlook on dating and commitment, so I haven't been in a relationship since then. Sucks. Experience 14. My ex thought it would be fun to surprise me to tell me she was 2 months pregnant.
You know I've had a successful vasectomy, right?
Yeah, I know it's not yours, but it's such a blessing for us.
You can lose my number immediately. Good luck with that.
Edit, didn't expect that much attention on this one. To elaborate, we had met at a bar and I thought she was gorgeous. Our mutual friend got us talking. We ended up drinking too much whiskey and going back to her place. Got mildly snowed in, so we had a long weekend getting to know each other and really clicked. A few weeks later, she was making all sorts of future plans for us, which I thought was cute. I was falling really fast after a string of unsuccessful tries at dating after a painful divorce from my wife of 17 years. She dropped the L-bomb first and I was done after that, introduced her to my kids and thought things were going well. She ended up going to a friend's wedding and I guess that's where it happened. Started acting strange after that, kind of frigid. Dropped the baby bomb on me sometime later and I could do the math and science quickly enough. Looking back on some of our conversations, I think she just really wanted a baby to fill a painful hole in her heart from childhood trauma. I'm not sure exactly what role she intended for me to play in this, but when I didn't react accordingly, she got extremely nasty, telling me I never meant anything to her and I was overreacting. I wished her the best and asked her not to contact me further. Our mutual friend says she seems to be doing well, the baby is happy and healthy, and I'm glad for her even though it hurt me so bad at the time. I could never forgive her, but I really hope she found what it is she was looking for. Live and learn, I suppose. Experience 15. Apparently, I was the love of her life. She couldn't bear the thought of not being with me, and she'd just die if I ever cheated on her, right up until she casually announced she was leaving me for one of the two guys she'd been freaking behind my back, and I should just shut up and get over it because it's not like we were at all serious or anything. Edit, since this is getting so much attention, the punchline is that she can't have babies because her toxic soul must have poisoned her ovaries or something. Meanwhile, I've got 3 brilliant overachieving kids who wouldn't have existed if I was still with her. Experience 16. He is a man-child who refuses to take any sort of accountability for his life. He considered I don't know how to be a valid excuse for not doing something that he could have learned, and wanted me to drive him everywhere because he was afraid to drive, despite there being a bus stop 3 short blocks from our house. Eventually, his helplessness overshadowed his good qualities and I couldn't take it anymore. I started viewing him as a teenager and wasn't attracted to him anymore. He moved back to his mom, who treats him like crap, and I'll be surprised if he ever leaves, going on 2 years now. Experience 17. Spent our whole relationship sacrificing who I was to make her happy. Cut good friends out of my life because she didn't like them. Stopped standing up for myself because it wasn't worth the arguments. Worked 10 to 14 hours a night and still, she abused me for not doing the housework. I genuinely tried. She worked 6 hours a day and rarely did any chores at all. But I wanted to make it work, so I tried to talk to her about my feelings and problems. She called me lazy and played the victim, and every time I let her make me the bad guy. All I wanted was for her to be happy. I never stopped her from seeing her friends or doing the things she liked. I never complained when she wasted all our money on her whim of the week. So when she asked if she could hang out with her ex, just as friends, I said yes. Because I trusted her, and I told her as much. I may not trust him, but I trusted her. A few weeks later, I get home at 11 p.m. and she breaks down crying. Tells me she cheated on me with him. I was obviously devastated, but I could have forgiven her, could have still tried to move on, but then she gave me the real gut punch.
I love you, but I just don't think I'm in love with you anymore.
And that was it. I told her to get out. A week later, she came back saying she still loved me, she just wanted me to fight for her. I told her the truth. I will never fight for something that doesn't exist. She said she wasn't in love anymore, so there was nothing to fight for. And if I have to fight another man for your affection, I don't want it. Fast forward 6 months and she calls to say she's pregnant and the guy denies that he's the father. She says she screwed up and wants another chance. No. PSA to all the women out there, don't take advantage of a good man. If he's not number one for you, he won't fight for second place. Experience 18. He tried to decide what clothes I was allowed to buy. They had to be special so I didn't look average. He told me to start going to the gym with him because I wasn't fit anymore. Bear in mind I was 57 kilograms at the time. He got angry when I didn't want to sleep with him at least 4 times a week. Didn't matter if I actually wanted to or not. He wanted to make a schedule for this so his balls wouldn't become blue and hurt. 3 months into our relationship, I kicked him out and he tried to threaten me with self-deletion if I didn't take him back. 1 week later, he had a new girlfriend. 8 years later. I'm still single and haven't dated since. Experience 19. I got tired of being treated like a servant. Who footed all the bills? Any decision I made thinking of family first. Hers was made her first and only. Then the bipolar schizophrenic episodes kicked in. Paranoia, then false accusations. How do you steal a house? Then violence. Refusing the meds prescribed, so it became a roller coaster. It took the city PD telling me to leave if I had a place to go. I did, and I did. Been almost a year and I am in better health, physically, mentally, and emotionally than I have been in the previous decade. Experience 20. She said she felt underappreciated. I spent 5 years building a foundation for the rest of our lives, obtaining a master's and full-time position so food would always be on the table, getting a car so we would be mobile and able to travel, getting a flat that we could make into a home. Within the same year of all the accomplishments, between Christmas and New Year's, she sat me down and told me she wanted to end it. That was 2 years ago, and I'm still trying to pick up the pieces. Experience 21. I tried breaking up with her like 4 times, each time taking her back because she sobbed for me not to go and kept telling me things like she would be alone for years, she would be so lost without me, she wouldn't have anything to fight her depression for. That she would follow me around afterwards and beg for me. This would all culminate after weeks of her being stoned 24/7 and ignoring me, not having sex, etc. She started getting less depressed and going out with friends, really finding herself. And then started making decisions for her future that very obviously did not include me. At that point, I had been planning the same. So, I finally put my foot down and broke it off.
If you've enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and check out more videos from the channel.